You think shopping for speakers is hard? Try picking a soundbar in 2022. Here's some helpful tips to make sure that you buy the right soundbar. Before we jump into today's video, I would like to thank our sponsor, Trade Coffee. Kristi and I are big coffee drinkers. I know, you're shocked. But over the holidays, I bought a new espresso machine so that we could take our love of coffee to the next level. No longer reliant upon pods, I realized I don't actually know that much about coffee, like which beans to use with what drink, or what beans even taste good. Then I discovered Trade Coffee. Now, Trade Coffee sells fresh, ethically sourced beans from local American roasters, and the best part is, coffee ships free to you and as often as you like. You get whole beans or grounds, whatever you want. To get started, take Trade's coffee quiz to find out what type of bean is right for you and your taste. Trade's coffee experts have tasted over 500 roasts to match you with your ideal coffee, plus they guarantee you'll love your first bag or they'll replace it for free. We love Dirty Bird from Sparrow's Coffee. It's an everyday sort of brew that's great for kickstarting your morning. Other favorites include Tony by Portrait Coffee and Kickstart by Greater Goods Coffee Company. Honestly, I've yet to receive a coffee recommendation that has missed the mark. Try Trade Coffee for yourself. Right now, you can get $20 off your first 3 bags when you go to drinktrade.com/Robinson, or just click the link in the description below. That's more than 16 cups of coffee for free. To get started, take their quiz at drinktrade.com/Robinson and start your journey for your perfect cup. That's drinktrade.com/Robinson for $20 off your first 3 bags. Thank you again to Trade Coffee for sponsoring this video, and now back to it. Before we get into what soundbar setup is right for you and your needs, we need to first identify the 4 main types of soundbars: passive, powered, faux surround, and full surround. A passive soundbar is one that does not have its own internal power amps or surround processing, meaning it's essentially 3 passive loudspeakers configured in a single bar-like chassis that requires you to connect it to a receiver much in the same way you would traditional speakers. A great example of a passive soundbar is the Klipsch Heritage soundbar we reviewed a couple of weeks ago. And passive soundbars are great if you're one who worries about future compatibility. As technology or formats change, you would, in theory, only have to update your AV receiver versus buying a whole new soundbar if you went the passive route. Now, powered soundbars are what most people think of when they think of soundbars. Powered soundbars don't need additional components to work, so all you really need to do is plug them in and connect them to your TV, and you're done. Within the powered genre, you have what I call faux surround soundbars and full surround bars. Now, faux surround soundbars are typically all-inclusive designs, meaning they do not rely on surround sound speakers or sometimes even separate subwoofers to give you a surround sound experience. 2 great examples would be the Sennheiser Ambio and the Bang & Olufsen BioSound Stage. Now, both are single bar solutions that rely on digital processing and multiple speakers within the bar to steer sound around you without needing to rely on separate satellite speakers. Now, full surround soundbars, on the other hand, usually come with the bar itself, a wireless subwoofer, as well as a pair of wireless surround speakers to give you a true surround sound speaker setup. Now, some are sold a la carte, meaning you may have to purchase the subwoofer and surround speakers separately. Regardless if the bar is sold as a complete package or has to be pieced together, you're likely going to achieve the same end results. The Samsung Q950A is a great example of a full surround sound soundbar system. And real quick, it is possible to enjoy Dolby Atmos soundtracks on all types of soundbars. You just have to make sure that whatever soundbar you're shopping for supports Dolby Atmos or DTS:X. The first step towards making any hi-fi or home theater purchase is understanding just what type of listener you are. For example, if you're shopping for a soundbar to enhance your everyday TV viewing, or you simply want to make dialogue more clear and maybe make the occasional action film just a little bit more exciting, then you may not need a full surround sound soundbar, and instead you would be better suited going with a faux surround or single bar solution. If this sounds like you, options like the Sonos Beam Gen 2, the LG Eclair, or the Bang & Olufsen BioSound Stage may be good soundbars to consider. But if you are looking to recreate or maybe even replace a true multi-speaker home theater setup, one with theater-like dynamics, clarity, and bass punch, then a soundbar like the Samsung Q950A or Sennheiser Ambio may be a better fit. If you're not sure, my advice would be to buy into a soundbar setup that allows you the flexibility to either scale up or down as the need arises. So while the Samsung and Sennheiser setups are all-inclusive, should you want to start with just a bar at first and decide later if a subwoofer and satellite speakers are necessary, then options like the Bose 900 or Sonos Beam Gen 2 or the ARC may be your better bets. Now, based on your soundbar goals, the next thing to consider is just how many channels or number of speakers you need your soundbar to have. When it comes to soundbars, the number of speakers doesn't always correlate to the level of, say, surroundness one can achieve. For example, you can achieve similar levels of surround sound from a single bar with 5 speakers as you can with one that may utilize 9 or more speakers. Again, this is just an example. But getting back to your goals, if you're just looking to clean up your dialogue and make your sound experience better than what you're getting from your TV's built-in speakers, I wouldn't go crazy shopping for a soundbar advertising 7.1 or better surround sound. A simple 3 to 5 channel soundbar like the Sonos Beam Gen 2, Klipsch Cinema 600, or even the LG Eclair will likely serve you just fine. But if you want to go full Monty, I'm talking full home theater surround sound, then you're going to want to look for a soundbar with 7 or more channels, in which case options like the Samsung Q950A, Sonos ARC, Sennheiser Ambio, or similar should be on your list. Now, one of the benefits of having a home theater receiver is that it allows you to connect multiple devices, such as gaming consoles, Blu-ray players, etc., to the receiver rather than having to run multiple cables to your TV for a cluttered installation. Now, some soundbars offer this level of connectivity, and if you're not in a position to run multiple cables to your TV, or you just want to streamline things a little bit and have only one HDMI cable running between your TV and a soundbar, then you're going to want to make sure to shop for a soundbar with multiple HDMI inputs, as well as maybe optical and or analog inputs as well, versus a soundbar with only one advertised ARC or eARC equipped HDMI port. Great examples of this type of soundbar offering enhanced connectivity would be the Samsung Q950A, Sennheiser Ambio, and even the Bang & Olufsen BioSound Stage. It's possible to enjoy Atmos soundtracks through an ARC connection as well as an eARC one, though the latter is arguably going to give you better performance in the long run. Whenever possible, it is my recommendation to shop for a soundbar with eARC connectivity. All right, gamers, pay attention. As of this video, there are only a handful of soundbars that support 4K 120 and 8K 60. For the best gaming results, I still recommend that you connect your console, be it an Xbox or PS5, directly to your TV, and then run a single HDMI cable from your TV's eARC port to your soundbar. For every other component you may have in your setup, for example, a Blu-ray player, connecting it directly to your soundbar shouldn't be an issue. And if you like to stream music from your phone or laptop, you're going to want to shop for a soundbar that has Bluetooth, AirPlay, or Chromecast support. These are very common features, so it is likely you will not have to look too hard to find a bar with these options. Now, soundbars are no different than traditional speakers in that they're going to be affected pretty heavily by your space. If you have a large space that you're looking to fill with full range sound or surround sound, then you're going to need a soundbar solution that comes complete with, say, a separate subwoofer and separate surround speakers. You may also want to make sure that the soundbar has room EQ built in. Now, most of the more expensive soundbars from the likes of Samsung, LG, Sonos, Bose, and Sennheiser are going to fit the bill. Just know that in order to calibrate your soundbar to your space using Room EQ, you will likely need to download and use whatever app your soundbar requires. Now, if you're shopping for a smaller space, maybe your bedroom or you're in an apartment with thinner walls, an all-inclusive solution like the Sonos Beam 2, Bang & Olufsen BioSound Stage, or even the tiny LG Eclair with its separate but included subwoofer may be just what the doctor ordered. Let me just say, all soundbars can be used for music listening. It's a bit of a myth that music requires a different type of speaker compared to, say, a home theater. A good speaker doesn't discriminate, and the same is true of soundbars. Obviously, when it comes to what sounds good or bad, that is going to be subjective, so you'll have to make the final decision for yourself on what bar sounds best. But you don't need to lose sleep over whether or not you can enjoy 2-channel music through a soundbar, because you can. So these are some of the things I consider when shopping for a soundbar, but I'm curious if Kristi has any tips to share with you all.
Well, I mean, obviously you want to find the one that you like the looks of the best, but I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm not.
You're not
but
kidding.
I am. But the only other thing I think that I was curious about was why you didn't mention something like the Sony A9.
Okay.
And because I think that's a really, really good solution that kind of crosses the into almost into like having more traditional sounding speakers. And I know it's technically not a soundbar.
It's definitely going for the same market, though. Was what I
And how, like, who do you think something like the A9 would be best suited for?
Okay. If you're going for a full surround sound experience and you're shopping, say, Samsung Q950A, Sennheiser Ambio, a full Bose 900 setup, things like that, Sonos Arc, Atmos, the whole 9 yards, but it's multiple speakers. It's not just a bar. Then the Sony HT-A9 system is totally worth a look, so long as you buy it with the subwoofer. Do not buy the HT-A9 system without a subwoofer.
Yeah,
you will be disappointed.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
And also what was the soundbar version of the A9 called?
Oh, the 7000?
Which we did not like.
Yeah, and I mean
I wouldn't steer anybody towards that particular soundbar, but
yeah.
I guess if there is somebody that may be looking at that one, what do you think that compares best to?
The Sony 7000 is Sony's facsimile of the Q950A from Samsung or the LG SP9 or above. That is the answer. The 7000 is the answer to those two products. And while I didn't care for it, if you like it or if you have it and you feel differently, that's fine. That is totally fine. But I will say the HT-A9, the 4 satellite speakers and separate subwoofer, which is not optional, is a great system that is soundbar-like, but really does do a good job kind of blurring the lines between dedicated theater and soundbar-like setup.
So out of all the things that you mentioned, which of these factors do you think are the most important when deciding what soundbar to get?
I still believe in the less is more approach. And so I will often take a chance on a soundbar that has, say, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 channels that steer the sound around you by using some pretty trick digital signal processing or DSP before I would consider a soundbar solution that requires me to now have satellite speakers behind me and whatnot. I don't mind a wireless subwoofer because that tends to kind of go in the front of the room. I don't have to like really buy stands or figure stuff out like that. But I err on the side of all inclusive designs whenever possible, which is why I'm such a big fan of the Sonos Beam Gen 2, the Bang & Olufsen Stage, Sennheiser Ambio, things like that. But no denying that the Samsung Q950A is absolutely fantastic. So is the Klipsch Cinema 600. So it really does depend. Like, what level of complexity are you willing to endure? But for me, once I decide if I can go with a single box solution versus surround, I tend to like more channels that steer sound around me or promise to steer sound around me if set up correctly. And then I look at the app's performance. And then from there, I just put ears on it and decide if it's something I can live with. So that's it. That is it for us today in this video. Now it's your turn. Let us know what you guys thought down in the comments below. And while you're down there, my question of the day for you is pretty simple. And that is, what do you look for in a soundbar when making your final purchasing decision? Let me know. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Go ahead and ring that bell so that you're notified when new videos come out. If you use any of the links that Kristi left for you down below, know that that is a great way that you have continued to show your support for this channel in the work that we do here. And both of us, thank you very much for doing that. Speaking of thanks, I would like to thank Trade Coffee for sponsoring this episode and to remind you to go to drinktrade.com/Robinson to get $20 off your first 3 bags. Follow me on Instagram at Recovering Audiophile, and that is it for me today. So remember, the only person who has to like the sound of your system is you. So happy listening, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to see you on the next video. Bye.